Hey, it's Lou, and I wanted to share a few new Descript tips and tricks. Some of them are a little bit more advanced, but I'll start with a very basic overview of Underlord, and then we'll get into some specifics. So I'm going to share my screen and we'll dive. You can see here I have imported a video into Descript, and usually it doesn't show the timeline to begin with. So it'll probably show up like this, but I always show timeline because I want to see what's going on here, if there are big pauses and things like that. So I imported this webinar training video into Descript. It's partly a slideshow, but I'm also on camera at the beginning. I want to show you that in case you haven't used Descript for a while, they have moved all of the tools to the right-hand side. So they've consolidated everything and put it over here, starting with their new AI tool, Underlord. So when you click on Underlord here, you'll see several categories: sound good, look good, repurpose, publish, and write. I usually start from the top and work my way down. So you could edit the document for clarity, removing filler words, making some obvious cuts with AI. Probably the first thing I do with anything is add studio sound. It'll just make everything sound a ton better. So you see that applying studio sound. If you see it cutting off words or maybe things that don't sound quite intelligible, is that the right word? You can go into the settings here and reduce the intensity of the studio sound, but I find it usually does a pretty good job right off the bat. So that's a one-click fix right there. The next thing I do, going back to Underlord up here in the upper right, is I go to remove filler words because I say and ah a lot. So if I click on remove filler words, it's going to show me, going to highlight my filler words here. What a doofus. And it's also going to show them to me over here. And they're mostly ums and ahs. There might be a couple of likes. So I have a ton of ums and ahs here, and I'm just going to click on remove all because I don't want any ums and ahs in there. So that's already making me sound smarter than I am. So we'll click that. It's still working on the studio sound, but it will remove the filler words as well. So you can see now those highlighted ums and ahs are gone. One of the other things you'll notice here is these lines or dots, and that basically just indicates a pause. So I can go in here and see my long pauses, and I can take them out manually by selecting them. Like I didn't start right away, so there's a couple seconds there, and just delete it. Or I can go back to Underlord and say shorten word gaps. So this is probably the third thing I do. The first thing is studio sound. The second thing is remove filler words. The third thing is shorten word gaps. So I can say if there's a gap of 1 second or more, you can delete that gap. You can make it 2 seconds if you want. And I can just click remove all, and that's going to automatically pull out all of these pauses. Sometimes you want to leave pauses in for effect, or you want to add a beat or something. But again, for the most part here, I'm just going to take all of these out, let it do its thing. Okay, so now go back to Underlord, upper right. I've done my studio sound, I've done my filler words, and I've done my shortened word gaps. You could do remove retakes, like if you said something twice. So sometimes when I'm recording, I'll say something 2 or 3 times till I get it right. And now that the AI has this remove retakes function, that's going to take care of that, which is good. Once I'm done with the sound good, I'll go to look good, and I may or may not do eye contact. This one's a little tricky, but if you find that you're not looking at the screen, the eye contact function can help that quite a bit. So I don't know how much it will do here because I'm pretty much looking at the camera, but obviously if I'm looking way away, it's not going to do anything. But we'll take a look and see how it looks. I might go back in and remove that just by clicking it here again if I don't like the way it came out. Eye contact is a good thing to have. Green screen is awesome because it's a one-click thing. You can basically knock out your background and replace it with another background. I'm going to save that for another video, although it really is pretty much that easy. Once you take out your background, you can replace it with any other video or image background. So let me undo that for the time being. And we're still over here in look good. Also, if you want to generate an image with AI, you can do that, which is cool, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. And then we go down to repurpose. This is where if you want to take clips out of the video or create a highlight reel or find highlights, you can do that in repurpose. So this is great because it used to be a lot more manual. Now it's pretty much automatic. So you go to create clips. You say, I want 5 clips that are 2 minutes long. You can pick the layout or add graphics or things like that, or browse templates. I usually just leave it alone because I don't want to mess up the template too much. So please create 5 relevant clips that are about 2 minutes length, but focus on key themes and ideas. And I can click submit, and Underlord will give me 5 2-minute or under clips, which is pretty amazing. And they're usually pretty good. You may have to go in and tidy them up a bit, or maybe make sure that the endings are in context. But let's just take a look at this one. If I click on it, it's going to go to this new clip, this new video. This shows you what is included here. And I think if I look, I just want to make sure that it ends personalization, that it makes sense. It doesn't cut off mid-sentence. You can see here some of the stuff it cut out at the beginning and the end. We're operating in World War I. Video can lead to a massive social following. So that's good. I like that. So if I like it, I can just let it be and maybe I star it or just publish it if I'm ready to publish it for that particular clip. I'm not going to change the size of this to square or portrait because it would mess up the slide here because I'm sharing slide. But I can see that clip is fine right out of the box. I might go through here again, just make sure that everything's in context and it doesn't cut off mid-sentence, but otherwise that's good to go. So these are the 5 clips. I'll go all the way down the line. It'll tell you this one's 65 seconds. This one's 116 seconds. You can see everything here on the left. And again, as long as it ends a place that makes sense, then I think it's good to go. If I like that clip, I just go up here and click publish. And now I've got a 90-ish, 116-second clip here that it's going to produce. At any point, I can go back up the top here and go back to my original demo. Here's the clips, all the 5 clips that it created. So I can find them up here on the top, and I can always go back to my original demo here. So now I'm back in the original. I can go to create clips and I can go back from that. I could change it if I wanted to 10 clips that are 60 seconds. And this is a great way to bang out clips that usually don't need a lot of extra editing. Let me go back to Underlord here, and we were in the repurpose section. Again, you can create a highlight reel. Honestly, I haven't done that yet, but I may try it. Find highlights or even translate a transcript into other languages. Then finally down here, we've got publish, which if you want a title for your video or if you want a summary, it will give you that. It will give you show notes. It will give you a YouTube description. We'll try that one because that's one I use a lot. It will even draft social posts and blog posts for you. The social post is pretty cool because it's going to automatically give you, you can put an example in here, whatever number you put for social clips. If I say I want 3 clips and click submit, it's going to take out some blurbs for me with hashtags and emojis and everything. So I can just take this here. Ever feel overwhelmed by video creation? Turn into my latest series on AI video mastery, blah, 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 blah. And that one's good to go. I just copy all of them and paste it into social. These are really more like promos, but that's totally fine. And that's it for social posts. Again, I can go back under publish and do a YouTube description. And I usually take this right out of the box as well. Typically, the YouTube descriptions are really good and don't need a lot of editing. This one gives you a title. It gives you a description, and it gives you chapter markers, which are very helpful for YouTube, especially if it's a longer video. This is an hour-long video, so it went in here and did timestamps or chapter markers for the entire video. So I can just click on the copy, and I am good to go. That's that. Just copy it, paste it into YouTube. And I've got my YouTube description. All right. So finally, in Underlord, you have write. And I have to say that I have not used this too much yet, but you can do brainstorming or you can write a script, give Underlord a topic and a style, and get first draft fast. You can do an outline, or you can have a full rewrite. Again, because I brought this in as a video that was more or less ready to go, I'm not going to do any of that. But if you're starting with a blank slate, you can try some of the write functions here that are all AI, brainstorm, write script. And these are just tapping into ChatGPT. But the nice thing is you don't have to leave Descript and go to ChatGPT. You can do all of those things from here. So that's Underlord, something like 30 new features that they've added in the last couple months. Everything else here, we'll go over in another video. This is your project tab. I see my original video here. Those clips that I made are here. If I've got different files like intros and things like that, that would show up down here under files. The scenes is where you'll find the background for your video, or the effects like blur or pixelate, which I very rarely use. The green screen is there too. Transitions. Again, this is pretty much a seamless video, so I'm not going to use that too much, but if it had a lot of different pieces, I can do fades or blurs or crossfades or zooms in and out of those different scenes so that there'd be transitions between them. Layer is just going to show you where basically all your layers are here. Down here, you can see them in the timeline. And I've really just got video and audio here. You can adjust your audio here. You can see that studio sound pops up here, the green screen and eye contact and animation, which again, I'm not going to mess with that just now. Custom animation. That's just really a transition in and out. That's layer. Then of course you've got record if you want to record yourself or a screen or both. Elements is interesting because that's where they have hidden the text for titles, subtitles, or things like that. So if you wanted to add a lower third, you'd click on subtitle and you'll see it come up here, and then you can customize it. So I did the wrong layer. Customize that title and move it wherever you want. You can change the font, you can change the color. So that's where they've hidden text here under elements. You also have some shapes, stars, arrows, things like that. Dynamic text, timer, marker, speaker. I honestly have not used that yet, but it might be interesting to have a timer in there. So if you click on that, you'll see what that comes up with. I'm just deleting these subtitles to get them out of the way. What happened to my timer? It didn't take. Oh, there it is. So that's just a countdown. I'm at 41 seconds here. Again, you can move that if you want. I'm going to take it out for now. And then you've got your waveforms. This is something I use quite a bit if I'm doing a square video or a vertical video. So if I'm turning this to a square video, which I did up here, you might want to add a waveform. And that's here. As always, you can change the color, style, and all that good stuff. You can have it as a circle if you prefer that, or you can have it as rings or a wave. So it's just good to know where that is, because again, they've hidden some of this. These are just annotations, light leaks, frames, stuff like that. I probably would not mess with that too much, but it's interesting to know that all that fun stuff is there. All right, and finally, quite finally, under elements is captions, which is huge because they have added so many new caption styles here. Before, you were very limited in what you could do. And now when this loads, you'll see, oh, it just loaded my film strip there. Effects. And you'll see all different styles of captions. Some of them have waveforms right in them. Some have colors. All of this is customizable. But if you decide you want something like this, you just click on it and you will have captions throughout the entire video. Once it loads, it's applying the layout, and there it is. And again, you can move these. Show you what it looks like. And it geared folks to get in here, just wipe up the hour. Again, when you click on that, you can make it larger. You can change the highlight color. You can change the font, or you can just grab on it, pause it, and move it around if you want. Change the size, change it anywhere on the screen. So that's pretty cool. Those are the captions. You have a lot more to choose from now, which is great. And then finally under captions, you've got your media, which is your B-roll, stock video, stock images, backgrounds. So this is just a wealth of footage, B-roll. Again, search for whatever you may need. You might want, the example I use often is like I say, oh, I want to talk about the fact that I'm from Boston. So I'm going to do a search for Boston. So you can see when I put in my search phrase of Boston that I got videos of Boston, Giphy stickers of Celtics, I've got backgrounds, I've got stock images. And for any of these, I can just go in and say, this is wicked. It was wicked, say, and just say, just show me the stock video. So if I wanted to add B-roll, I could say, oh, here's a cool overview of Boston or something, and just click on that or any of these. Apparently some of them have audio too. So these are all, again, my search term was Boston. So obviously it's going to give me skylines and city stuff, but here's Fenway Park. That's all easy to add. And then last but not least, at the very bottom here, you've got music that you can add, and that includes music and sound effects. I'm going to do a separate video on bringing in music because it's a little bit different than it used to be. And I know sometimes folks struggle with finding the right music, or it stops too soon, things like that. So I'll do a separate video to show you how to loop the music and how to make the most of it. So that's a pretty good overview of the new Descript. And as I said, we'll have other demo videos shortly that will get into more specifics about some of the more advanced stuff, adding music and editing within the video and transitions and all that fun stuff. Templates too, that's a biggie. So stay tuned and more videos to come. Bye for now.